After 2 years away, training camp has returned to St. John Fisher University. The Bills are back, and so is Buffalo Kickoff Live. Welcome to the show. I'm Josh Reed alongside Thad Brown, Sal Capaccio, WGR 550, Tim Graham from The Athletic, Matt Perino from Syracuse.com, and Heather Prusak. They'll be joining us coming up a little bit later on in the show as we hit on all of the big storylines getting into Bills training camp. And it's just been 2 practices, guys, and they always say the defense is usually ahead of the offense, and it is at this point.
Oh, man, today was one of those days for the offense after one of those days yesterday. Nick McLeod, 2 interceptions. I thought Cam Lewis had a couple nice plays. Jordan Poyer caught what was a borderline punt from Josh Allen today for an interception. It just, look, this early in camp, you expect the defense to be ahead, and it was. Now, one of the other reasons the defense is ahead, they got Von Miller now. He's kind of good. I watched him for a couple plays today, and there was one where I imagine Tommy Doyle went back to the huddle, talked to Ken Dorsey, and Dorsey says, "Where'd he go?" And Doyle says, "Where'd who go?" Miller is fast. He gets off quick. Even with pads not on so far, you can tell how much of a difference maker he's going to be for this defense, and a whole lot of fun for us to watch here at Fisher.
You know, a lot's made about his age, right? I mean, go back and look at the great pass rushers. Reggie White, Bruce Smith, they were all great past the age of 33. He's going to be just fine. But you do wonder about the snap counts, right? Because that's not the philosophy of the Bills. Von Miller's been a really high snap count guy, 80%, 85% throughout his career. The Bills like to use guys at most maybe 65%. Leslie Frazier said that actually was a discussion they had before they signed Von Miller, guys. They talked about, you know, how does this fit into our type of philosophy? What are we going to do? And then today he mentioned it again. He was asked, and he said, when he talked about Miller, yeah, we're going to come to a happy medium. Von wants to be on the field a lot.
Yeah, Von Miller comes with all of the talent in the world, and he's got a lot of rings, and he's got some MVP awards, and that's one of the reasons they brought him in. He brings that experience. He knows what it looks like at the top of the mountain. Let's hear from the Bills' new star edge rusher.
All Super Bowl teams, you know, they have similarities, and success leaves clues. And as long as we just keep chipping away at it, you know, I feel like we'll be okay. Whenever I can interject, you know, some of my knowledge and some of my wisdom, or if I can see something where I could, you know, put my 2 cents in, I'll do it. But I'm not a preachy rah guy. You know, I'm coming out trying to make my plays and trying to get my job done. And whenever it's time for Von Miller to talk, I'm gonna be the first one to do it.
I mean, you know you're a star when you're referring to yourself in third person. Whenever Von Miller needs to talk, Von Miller will talk. Well, now it's time for Josh Reed to talk.
Let's wait for that.
Brown will talk. The rotation up front, the defensive line, is something that just 2 days in is something to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, this is a team that's going to use a lot of different players on that defensive line. And, you know, one of the good things I think the Bills have with that D-line is they've got a lot of very, at least, competent players, especially in the middle. I mean, Tim Settle, Daquan Jones, Jordan Phillips to go along with Ed Oliver. That tackle rotation is going to be fantastic. The thing I'm watching for, how much do the young ends develop, especially Greg Rousseau this year? Whether the Bills like it or not, I think Rousseau is going to be a primary member of that end rotation. And look, Von Miller is going to be fine, but let's say Von Miller gets hurt. We're going to go back to last year where the Bills are depending on Rousseau to be that guy. Either way, they want to see him take a step this year.
I actually asked Brandon Beane yesterday, put your fan hat on. I said, not the GM hat. What position are you most interested in watching the competition? That's exactly it. And what you said, Thad, he said, I'm interested in these guys and go inside and outside and how all of that plays out and how we can use them.
And you have to assume that, you know, if it's a much improved defensive line that we think it's going to be, that helps all the other levels of the defense, right? That's helping your linebackers, in particular Tremaine Edmonds, who's going into the final year of his contract. And that secondary is only going to get better because now you've got guys who can put some heat on the passer.
Yeah, that final year of the contract thing is going to be a theme throughout this entire preseason that we're going to beat into the ground. But yeah, Edmonds is a guy that needs a deal, needs a season that'll earn himself a deal. But you're right. Last year, this was a team that largely relied on that secondary to cover. We don't know if Trey Waite's going to be available week 1. Having a guy like Von Miller, maybe having a Greg Rousseau step up makes everything so much easier for everybody else.
Yeah, you mentioned Tre'Davious White. He's a guy that we've watched, and it was kind of a good sign. We did see him a little bit. He wasn't doing a lot. He was off to the side, but we did see him on a bike, and that was a little glimmer of hope, right?
And he had the famous Tre'Davious White smile, guys. I mean, right? I mean, he looks like that he's in good spirits. I'll also give you another encouraging sign. The Bills had a signing today, but it wasn't a corner. It was a lineman. I think that now that they're at 90, that they didn't sign a corner might be encouraging about what they feel about Tre'Davious White's timeline.
Encouraging for Tre'Davious White, maybe not encouraging for Roger Saffold.
That's right.
Absolutely. We're going to go back to the studio now. Heather Prusak with more.
All right, you guys talked about so many newcomers on this team this year, and that's exactly what our poll question is about for you. Let's get to our fan poll. We're asking you, other than Von Miller, of course, we just talked about him a lot, and we're going to be talking about him in great length. But other than Von Miller, which player do you think will make the biggest difference for the Bills this season? Is it James Cook, Kyer Elam, Roger Saffold, or Jordan Phillips? You can vote right now online at WIVB.com. And as always, we'll have the results for you at the very end of the show. Well, we've got to take a quick break, but when we come back here on Buffalo Kickoff Live, we're going to hear from QB1 Josh Allen as he's about to start his 5th season in the NFL. Stick around, that's coming up next.
Tonight at 11, the challenges of recruiting new police officers as law enforcement faces more danger in the line of duty. Plus, the latest as monkeypox continues to spread in Western New York.
As the weather heats up, make sure your home stays cool. Get your AC tuned up and ready to go for $69. Don't have AC? No problem. We offer 72 months with no interest on AC installation. Plus, you can get up to $1,250 in available rebates. We also can take care of any of your home's plumbing needs, for jobs big or small. Let us take care of your home while you enjoy the weather. Call us for a free in-home estimate.
Serving all of Western New York for more than 2 decades.
The extreme
Mic check,
discount
check,
mattress
1, 2,
extreme
3.
deal of the day is this fully adjustable
Mic
base
check,
and
1,
mattress
2,
complete.
3.
Compare elsewhere
Mic
at
check, check, check,
$9.99.
check.
Extreme
1,
deal
2,
price is
3.
just
Mic check,
$4.99.
check.
Call or go to
1, 2, 3. Mic check, check. We're going to be.
Well, we sell mattresses for less, a lot less.
What makes best reviews the best reviews? They have an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on pretty much everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
So you can be confident that whatever you're buying is right for you, no matter what life throws at it. Like your daughter Clementine, for example. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Get out and enjoy the greens with great savings to this area's premier courses with the Golf Pass WNY. Now just $69 lets you play 1 round of 18 holes at each of these courses. Hurry, they won't last long. Get yours at golfpasswny.com.
Buy 2 windows and you get 2 more at 50% off with 0% financing. Wonder Windows.
Watch Don Postals weeknights on Channel 4.
Welcome back to Buffalo Kickoff Live Training Camp Special. Tim Grant from The Athletic joining us now. We actually made it like 7 minutes into the show without a deep dive on Josh Allen, but the time has arrived, Tim. The Bills have themselves an absolute superstar at quarterback, and it's something that he really embraces, and by all accounts, he handles it really well.
I think it's deserved, too, and it's something that I think that Bills fans obviously love Josh Allen. They can't get enough of him. But sometimes I wonder if we really truly appreciate just how good this guy is. And I know that everybody goes out to the airport and these stands are filled and everything. We know, I mean, everybody sees it. But I think he's even better than that. And I think it goes to the reason that he is chosen to be in that golf tournament. He's the only one in that group that hasn't won an MVP, a couple of them. But he belonged there. I think that if John Madden doesn't die last year, Josh Allen is on the cover of Madden this year. I think it's that type of stuff that he is now emerging into. And it's a big reason why you see the national football machine getting behind the Buffalo Bills. Yes, they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, all this type of stuff. But everybody's really jumping on how cool this team's hip. I mean, this team is with it, and it's not tiresome Cowboys. It's not the Steelers. It's not the Blue Bloods. This is exciting organization that's come up that people can talk about for the first time in a long time, and they're finding new things to love, but Josh Allen's at the forefront.
Yeah, it's crazy, Thad. We're sitting here talking about a Bills team, as you mentioned, Tim, that's hip. This is a cool team. Von Miller, we talked about, right? A guy who's going to be in a Hall of Fame, and Josh Allen, who's an absolute superstar right now.
The other thing I like about what Josh Allen has done, and I've seen it right away in camp this year, he might be the super duper star, but he's also stepped in that role as the leader of this team, one of the guys that everyone else is looking up to. You know, Josh Allen's always kind of been everybody's buddy. He's there with a joke. He's always ready to joke around. But this year, I've seen him on more than one occasion already pull a receiver aside and say, you know, I want you doing this, not this. I mean, he spent a good solid 3 minutes with Dawson Knox and O.J. Howard going over routes. There was a time today, Khalil Shakir ran a wrong route with one of the other quarterbacks. Josh Allen walked over, stopped him, and said, no, I want you to do this and that. And the way he's able to step up and be that guy to say, this is how we want it done here, be the example in that way, I've been impressed with so far.
Yeah, and the guys in that locker room, they know that he's that guy. They realize that if they're going to get anywhere, it's going to be because of number 17.
And it's a fine line that you have to walk as a leader, because there are alpha personalities all around the NFL, but that doesn't make them good leaders. He's clearly the alpha personality, and has been, I think, really probably since midway to halfway or midway to towards the end of his rookie season. I think people saw what he was all about, the way that he laid himself out on the line with his body and the way that he played, and that's really what got everybody behind him to begin with. But then it became the personality stuff, the off the field type of thing, the graciousness, the fact that he is humble, and it doesn't make it all about himself. He's able to deflect a lot of credit and make sure that his guys are taken care of, and that's what they respond to.
Expectations are through the roof, and Josh Allen's a big reason why. Let's hear from the Bills quarterback.
There's no higher expectations than what we have for ourselves in the locker room. And again, I think if you're a team that doesn't have Super Bowl or nothing, you know, in your minds, I don't think that you're doing it the right way. Obviously, that's the main goal, is to win world championships, and we got to find a way to get it done. But again, it starts with week one.
There is one little wrinkle as training camp continues to develop, and that's for the first time Josh Allen has a new offensive coordinator in Ken Dorsey.
Well, the team is just so stacked that the change at offensive coordinator is probably the biggest storyline, or one of them, right? I mean, we're going to talk in the last segment about players or people to watch, and there's some guys, but Ken Dorsey is the big variable. And you have to hope, and the Bills coaching staff obviously is a Bills fan too, but on the coaching staff, that things are smooth from the beginning, because the narrative gets set a lot of times through the first handful of games. And if there's a problem with clock management or a decision that was not made correctly in the clutch, they maybe a fumble, and I don't mean a physical fumble, but a mental fumble on a decision to go for it, or they need to call timeouts too much to get their plays in. That's going to set the standard for what's up with Dorsey. And there's some tough games out of the gate. So I think that the Bills need to hope that things are smooth. Otherwise, you're going to be wondering, what's up with this? What happened to Brian Dable? Can we get him back?
The upside is a lot of times talent overcomes a lot of that. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up on Buffalo Kickoff Live, we're going to head back over to the defense again. Jordan Poyer coming off a career season. But what's his future look like in Buffalo? Stick around. We'll be right back.
Tonight at 11, the challenges of recruiting new police officers as law enforcement faces more danger in the line of duty. Plus, the latest is monkeypox continues to spread in Western New York.
Watch Jeff Preval weekends on Channel 4.
Earn points on gas and spend them like cash with the new Smokin' Joe's Rewards Points program. Earn a point for every dollar spent at Smokin' Joe's. Plus, free win-bin scans daily for a monthly chance to win $1,000 cash. Join the Smokin' Joe's Rewards Points program today.
When it's time to give your home or business a fresh look, think Darling. Darling Paint and Restorations. Interior or exterior, commercial, residential, industrial, and churches. If it looks good, it's Darling. Call today for a free estimate, 656-8802, or visit us at darlingpaint.com.
Hey, folks, Caroline here at Fusillo Hyundai of Grand Island, home of America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and owner assurance. Right now, you can lease the new 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe SEL for $375 a month. Just the example of the savings and selection you'll find right now at Fusillo Hyundai of Grand Island.com or right here at Fusillo Hyundai of Grand Island. You can apply for pre-approval with no social security number needed at hugebuffalocredit.com. We want to make you huge.
William Attar, the law firm that focuses only on motor vehicle accidents.
Here are today's daily numbers on WNLO. The first one up is 4, the next is 7, and the last is 23. Get a full hour.
Welcome back to Buffalo Kickoff Live. We are live at St. John Fisher University. A lot of times, NFL players' agents can kind of come into training camp and nobody really sticks out. But when Drew Rosenhaus does it, it's a little bit of a different thing. Matt, obviously he represents Jordan Poyer. His contract's coming up. What's going to happen there with that? It's definitely going to be something that's going to be hanging over this team until something gets done.
It's interesting you put it like that because I don't think that it's really hanging over Jordan Poyer at all. He said he had the best offseason of his career. He went back to the drawing board. He heard the murmurs about people questioning, all right, you're over 30 years old now, can you still do it? And he went out and he brought himself to camp in the best shape of his life. And it's looked like that. You saw him out on the field today. Big interception, obviously was a little bit of a miscommunication, but he is somebody that is determined to show up to camp to prove what he can do. I don't think it's a huge issue. I think he wants it to get done, but Thad, you saw Drew Rosenhaus was here. That usually means business.
Yeah, at least some business is being conducted and discussed. I don't know if it would get done, but I think the point you make about Jordan Poyer being motivated by the naysayers about how old he is was a good one, because I think the contract thing is hanging over a little bit, but he found something else to focus on to get motivated for this year, and he's going to come into this season. I think whether the contract becomes an issue, whether it is for him, in his own mind, he's going to show up and play and do his job for this team because of all the years he's put into it, because of the build this team has done. Even if he's not going to be here next year, Jordan Poyer wants to see this build get to the finish line in the Super Bowl and with a championship, no matter what the Bills might say about a contract, what the dollars and figures are, and what his future might hold after 2022.
Well, one of the things that stood out to me when we heard Jordan Poyer talk was several times he said that I hear everybody talking about how I'm 31 years old. These guys love to find a way to put any sort of chip on their shoulder that they can. Matt, the secondary looked really good today. Not just Jordan Poyer, but the safeties, those DBs look good today.
The really interesting thing, we got to talk to Leslie Frazier this morning, and this goes back to mandatory minicamp, OTAs, about Poyer and Hyde not being there might have been a good thing because we haven't seen much from Jaquan Johnson and Damar Hamlin. Both guys made plays today. Damar Hamlin with a really nice play, contested catch situation against Isaiah Hodgins, bigger body receiver, broke up the play, and I think more reps, not only together on the field, Hamlin and Johnson, but playing alongside Poyer and Hyde could be beneficial. If one of those guys goes down, they are a little bit older, to have a little bit of experience playing together, I think would be a good thing.
Jordan Poyer heard that. Careful, you might have made him mad, man.
The chip on the shoulder just got a little bit bigger. We are going to take a quick break coming up on Buffalo Kickoff Live. It's time for our players to watch. Stick around. We'll be right back.
As the weather heats up, make sure your home stays cool. Get your AC tuned up and ready to go for $69. Don't have AC? No problem. We offer 72 months with no interest on AC installation. Plus, you can get up to $1,250 in available rebates. We also can take care of any of your home's plumbing needs, for jobs big or small. Let us take care of your home while you enjoy the weather. Call us for a free in-home estimate.
Serving all of Western New York for more than 2 decades.
If you get hurt at work, call or text 684-COMP today and get the results you deserve.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys.
The summer sales event is here at Paddock Chevrolet. If you've been searching for a new Chevy Silverado, look no further. Paddock has LT, custom, and Trail Boss options available for pre-order. Act now to customize your truck just the way you want it. Have a trade-in or lease to sell? We want it, and we're willing to pay you more than anywhere else. Let Paddock's experienced staff get you out of your old vehicle and into a new Chevy. Our inventory is moving faster than ever, so come start your summer off in a new Silverado from Paddock Chevrolet. With you for the extra mile.
The Extreme Discount Mattress Extreme Deal of the Day is this luxury Talalay latex hybrid set. Compare elsewhere at $3,000. Your extreme deal price is just $9.99. Call or go to extrememattress.com for more extreme deals.
Where we sell mattresses for less, a lot less.
Wonder Windows can save you up to 40% on your home energy bill. Call today.
Get out and enjoy the greens with great savings to this area's premier courses with the Golf Pass WNY. Now just $69 lets you play one round of 18 holes at each of these courses. Hurry, they won't last long. Get yours at golfpasswny.com.
Here are today's daily numbers on WNLO. The first one up is 4, the next is 7, and the last is 23. Get a full hour of local news and weather.
Welcome back to Buffalo Kickoff Live. Before we get to our poll question results and our players to watch, let's talk a little bit about the Bills' 2 top draft picks this year. I know a lot of people are eager to see what these guys can do. First, let's start with Poyer. A lot for the cornerbacks right now is dependent on the health of Tre'Davious White. He's obviously coming off that torn ACL. He's starting on the PUP list right now. So Poyer, really regardless of Tre'Davious White's health, he's going to come in and be a day one starter. The Bills obviously aren't going to say that, but given where he was drafted, the Bills need him to come along and progress very quickly. Now, he played a lot of press coverage in college at Florida, and even in the spring, Leslie Frazier said this is a really great time, no pads on, to see what he can do and really work on some of his off-coverage skills so he can develop in that area. So I'm really interested to see just how he develops and come along. Some of the Bills are really going to need him to do. And then there's James Cook. I'm interested to see just how Ken Dorsey is going to utilize his skill set. The Bills have been searching for that running back that's a capable pass catcher, and that's just what James Cook brings to this offense. He's known to have those type of skills. He's got that speed. He's versatile. I'm really excited to see just over camp how he comes along and how he develops and just where Dorsey sees him fitting in this offense, especially given we know that Sean McDermott wanted to establish the run, but James Cook brings that skill set where he can be a weapon in the passing game. All right, now let's get back to the poll question, and we have those results for you now. We asked you, other than Von Miller, which player do you think will make the biggest difference for the Bills this season? 2 guys we just talked about, James Cook, Poyer, Roger Saffold, or Jordan Phillips. Majority of you, 44% of you said you think it's going to be James Cook. Again, some of the things we just talked about, his skill set as a pass catcher there, what he can do, his burst of speed there. 36% after that said Poyer. Jordan Phillips coming in at 12%, and then at 8%, rounding out our poll results, is Roger Saffold. All right, now let's get to our players to watch there. I'll kick things off. My player to watch for training camp is A.J. Epinesa. He's going into his 3rd season in the NFL. He's been wildly inconsistent. The Bills need him to come along. We've heard Sean McDermott say this trio of young pass rushers with Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham, and Epinesa, they really need to make a primary mark on this defense. We've seen flashes of what Epinesa can do, but not nearly as consistent as what he needs to do to live up to where he was drafted a couple years ago. All right, now the assignment was to pick a player to watch, singular, but Thad Brown makes his own rules, so we'll tell you what players he's watching as training camp goes along.
Heather, when it comes to this show, whatever I want, I get. And in this case, I got to talk about more than one player. I'm going to watch all the slot receivers. With Cole Beasley gone, there's a hole to fill. And there's 4 guys in this team who I think could be a part of that. Jameson Crowder, your old school straight receiver. You got Khalil Shakir and Tavon Austin, both multidimensional guys, one young, one old. And Isaiah McKenzie, the only one of the group that knows the offense, so he has that advantage. It's going to be fascinating to see which guy, and probably more likely which combination of guys, fills that slot role.
You guys gave me a layup. I'm going with Von Miller. Look, aside from what he's expected to do on the field, the Bills have Von Miller, everybody. He is going to walk into the Hall of Fame 5 years after his career is over. He's one of the greatest players to ever play this game, certainly one of the greatest pass rushers ever. And oh, by the way, they got him to win a Super Bowl, to get to Patrick Mahomes with 13 seconds left. He has all the cachet, he has all the stats, he has all the leadership. He's all yours, Buffalo.
I'm going with Gabriel Davis. Listen, this guy went out this offseason and has got better by all accounts, but he's also added a lot of muscle. He wants to play a little bit more physical, be a little bit bigger. We heard from Stephon Diggs today talk about how impressed he was with the workout regime over the offseason. And that's pretty impressive because Stephon Diggs is one of the hardest workers in the NFL. But the Bills didn't go out and get anybody to fill that number 2 wide receiver role. I'm interested to see how Gabriel Davis does it.
Sal, I'm swatting your layup into the 12th row because we already know what Von Miller looks like. Yes, he's going to look good in the Bills uniform and everything. We already know he's established. The player I want to see, the player to watch, Kaiir Elam, because he's going to be relied upon on week 1 with the injury of Tre'Davious White. Dane Jackson, of course, has the other spot. But Kaiir Elam, we need to see what this guy can do. And just because he's out there in week 1 doesn't necessarily mean that he's ready to go like we saw with Tre'Davious White or Ed Oliver or the other rookies that Sean McDermott has trusted, because he's got to go in week 1. It's not a situation where if he's good enough, he's going to go. He's got to play. So here in training camp, I think everybody needs to take a look and see what Kaiir Elam has.
All right. Thad said he's watching just about everybody in the receiving corps. I'm watching one guy, and I'm watching the right guy. I'm watching James Cook. You know how I know he's the right guy? The viewers voted him as the guy to watch, and our viewers are very intelligent. Look, James Cook, I've watched him pretty closely the first 2 practices. He doesn't run, he glides. I mean, he glides. It's like his feet barely even touch the turf. He is going to be electric. He's going to be exciting. Heather mentioned it a little bit earlier in this segment. It's going to be really interesting to see how Ken Dorsey uses him inside this offense. Guys, the expectations are through the roof going into this season. This is just the beginning. We're going to have a lot of these coming up for Sal, for Thad, for Matt, for Tim, for Heather back in the studio. I'm Josh. Thanks for watching Buffalo Kickoff Live Training Camp Special.